Hi, this is Beb. Here we are, the first video of this series about the development of my new game. It is at a very early stage, but I like the idea of sharing the main steps in the development process. I don't plan to have a lot of videos, and rather will only update for the most important steps. As a consequence, don't expect videos very often. It might depend on my free time, but probably something like once or twice a month. Oh, and as usual, feel free to ask questions or post comments. I'll be glad to share details on a particular point or to hear about your suggestions. The game is called The Descent. It has nothing to do with the movie or the games from the 90s, and the name might change at some point. It's a puzzle adventure game in which the main character tries to progress in a strange and mysterious building which dives deeply under the ground. Solving puzzle elements will be needed to progress, of course, with some classical aspects. Like buttons, doors, moving crates. I also intend to add a specific game mechanic around some interaction with NPCs, some kind of neutral entities wandering the building. They will be more like a neutral fauna than actual enemies. I can't say much about it yet as it's not fully established, but I'll come back to this in a later video. If I think about inspirations, two games come to my mind: Fibrillation and Inside. I really love the atmosphere in Fibrillation, and in particular how the buildings and abstract structures seem alive and paradoxal. Something you can also find in Control, for instance. Inside is of course one of the best games ever made, so it can be an inspiration on many aspects. One particular point is that I really want my game to have a specific camera system, and not the standard third-person view, so that the character seems more vulnerable and being observed. Something you feel very strong while playing Inside, I think. I opted for an actual 3D game with full freedom of movement, unlike Inside, but with a custom camera system that the player cannot control, which will follow the character along its journey. This is the first thing I did work on. I did get the idea of how to proceed from a very nice video on the subject by Michael Pattison, where the camera tracks the player along a spline accordingly to the position of the character. As I decided to do as much as I can in C++, I did write my own code for it, but it has only slight modification from the original video, the main idea being the same. I still have to experiment and practice while designing levels, but it is very flexible and I like it a lot for the moment. The other aspect I spent time on is the basic movement and interactions. I wanted something simple, with the usual movement keys and just the left mouse button for interaction. This is something I love in Inside. The controls of the character are so simple. Depending on the specific situation, the same interaction button can either activate an object, or start climbing a ladder, or grab an item. I also wanted to be able to move crates, because, crates are great. I did struggle a bit for this, and the various tutorials or videos I watched did not do what I was looking for. Problem starts when you want collisions and, at the same time, having relatively free movement while moving the crate around. The physics simulation solution I tried were too unstable for me, and not having collisions at all while moving the crate was not compatible with certain puzzles I have in mind. I was happy to find a somehow funny solution for this. The crate object is in fact a character itself, and when the player moves it, the code just transfers the character movement input from the player to the crate. This gives a lot of freedom, and for instance you can push or pull the crate along a slope. The point is, the crate being a full character, Unreal keeps the collisions right and smooth. When releasing the crate, a physics simulation can be turned on so that it can fall, for instance. It's probably not perfect, but it's the closest to what I wanted, and I'm pretty happy about it at the moment. From a general point of view, I did spend a lot of energy coding this in C++. There is no particular reasons for this except that I want to use the opportunity to learn that language. So I force myself not to use too many blueprints class, or at least to have all the core classes in C++. At the beginning I got a bit afraid because I realized that very simple things in blueprints, such as delays typically, were rather different and appeared to be scary in C++. But I'm super happy to learn that language, and I think it is actually fun and worth the extra time. That's it for this video. my next important step is to model the main character and have basic animations. There is no hurry for this, of course, but to be honest, working with the Unreal mannequin is a bit depressing. The other important step will be to add the core mechanic of the game, these interactions with the entities I told you about. This is going to be a big part and I might need some more time for this. So probably the next video will be about the character model. I'll use the opportunity to tell you a little bit more about the main story and why she, the main character, decided to explore this mysterious building. Thank you for watching, have a nice day and take care.